on Pure Rock Talkback. Joining us this morning is the general manager of KNAC, the man that has been here from the beginning, Gary Price. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the beginning, actually before the beginning. You were here prior to the Pure Rock format, right?
Right. I joined the radio station in 1984, and it was rock and rhythm at the time, which was a combination of about an 80% KROQ type bands and about 20% K-Earth type bands.
And we were also in a different location at that time.
Well, we were up on a terrible. Well, the building was okay. Our offices were not.
Right.
It was
like the 9th floor of...
Yeah, it was real prehistoric.
One of the oldest buildings in Long Beach, which is still standing, surprisingly enough.
Well, the furniture was older than the building. It was pretty Raggedy Ann.
Yeah, that was the F&M building.
And then Fred Sands bought the radio station and rebuilt new studios and all new equipment.
Now, Fred bought the station in what year?
Actually, I think he bought it in December of '83 and began operating it in March of '84.
And at that time, it was rock and rhythm, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Which brings us to the Pure Rock format. How did that come about? What were the seedlings of that? What were the musical factors in town that signaled that the time was right for Pure Rock?
Well, there were a lot of hard rock / heavy metal bands that were doing a lot of business at venues. Iron Maiden playing 3 and 4 nights in a row and selling out.
Right.
And these bands were going platinum and gold, and they were not getting any airplay. And KMET at that time was really diversifying. They were all over the road. And KLOS had pretty much abandoned the harder rock music and decided to go for an older age group.
Right.
And we just felt there was a void, that there was really something happening in hard rock music, and nobody was paying any attention to it in Los Angeles, so we decided to be the station.
So, how did you put this thing into motion? It started in January of '86 is when the format took hold. But obviously there was planning ahead of that.
There was some planning ahead of it. Looking back on it, I'm not sure the planning was always good as it could have been. We were still doing rock and rhythm, and we decided to go with Pure Rock at 6 p.m. On a given day. I don't recall the day. I think it might have been a Monday. And we didn't really inform any of the staff until that afternoon, about 3 o'clock, with the exception of the program director, Jimmy Christopher, and the sales manager, Nikki Randolph, who had a mission of going to Tower Records and buying like 1,000 hard rock albums. We had to build a library instantly.
So that day they went out?
Well, we went out that day, the day before, yeah. And
no kidding.
Yeah, and the clerk up at Tower said, "Wow, why are you buying all these albums?" And Jimmy said, "Oh, I'm going to start a hard rock station in Denver." And the guy said, "God, I wish I lived in Denver. It'd be great if we had one in L.A."
That's funny.
Yeah, so we informed everybody in a staff meeting about 5 o'clock that day, and kicked it off at 6 p.m. with AC/DC. It's a long way to the top.
Yeah, and you obviously, some of the people didn't stay on after that. They didn't like the format or whatever.
That's true. A lot of people did not believe in it, and salespeople decided they couldn't sell it, and certain jocks didn't want to be part of it. And for that particular group of people, they looked at me like I should be locked up in a home. And what was I thinking about? I was out of my mind.
Right.
And then they all came back a year later and said, "Wow, this really is working."
Right.
Isn't it?
Which brings me to my next question, obviously, from a sales aspect, because that's been kind of your focus the last 9 years. How were you able to prepare to sell KNAC in the beginning?
Well, we positioned it as a unique audience that was extremely active, extremely loyal. And we felt that if we put an honest ad on the air that said, "Hey, this is a good deal. Go look at it. Go buy it," that our audience would respond, and that's what happened. The businessmen felt the response of the radio station, especially in the obvious lifestyle products that our audience was interested in. It worked very well.
A lot of people perceive this audience as a difficult audience, a difficult image, and all of that. How did you get past those barriers along the line?
Well, we didn't get past those barriers totally. Even today, there are many clients out there who will say, "We don't want your audience in our store." And that's fine. We just move on and talk to the smarter ones. And there are a lot of merchants out there who understand that we've got a great audience, a good bunch of people, and they spend and need things like everybody else.
Right. And the other limitation that you have had to work with throughout the 9 years is the signal. How do you deal with that when you're selling a station like KNAC?
The fact that our signal does not cover all of Los Angeles and Orange County, specifically doesn't cover the valley,
right,
San Fernando Valley, is one of the reasons we went pure rock. We felt because we couldn't compete with KLOS and KMET on a full signal coverage, we had to be something very unique and very special. And that provoked us to come up with KNAC's pure rock concept.
Now, after you got it rolling, I'm sure that you didn't realize what sort of a monster you had created. And then after about a year, I probably sensed that you knew you had something here.
Well, we really were hopeful this was going to be a success. We really didn't have any idea. We didn't do a lot of sophisticated research that broadcasters would do then and now, even more sophisticated today. We didn't do 5,000 telephone call out and ask people, would you listen to this if we did it, and some of the typical things that you would do today.
Sure.
Probably more seat of the pants than anything else, so we were only hopeful that it would happen, and then as it took off, we realized soon on that, whoa, that we've got something people really like, and we're having such a great time with it. I mean, the staff had good time developing the product and executing it and producing it, and the audience had a great time being part of it.
And the bands seemed to follow.
Well, yeah, we were probably one of the only stations in the country that were really giving support to these kinds of bands. Nobody in the country would play them. I say nobody. College stations played them.
Right.
But I don't think there was more than three or four other commercial radio stations in the country that would give support to these bands.
We talked about the image of the station and how you've been here from the beginning. There is a perceived image of us. How close to the perceived image is the true image of what our audience is about?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to an older conservative person, they make judgments based on the length of people's hair.
Right.
Or the fact they wear an earring or have a tattoo, and they take one look at that and they have an immediate negative opinion. But generally, our audience has been widely accepted, and as time went on, it became more normal than unique.
The bumper sticker T-shirt phenomenon. Mm-hmm. Did you ever think it was going to go as far as it went, where we had the Gulf War situation and we were getting pictures back of missiles that were going to be sent over to Saddam Hussein with KNAC stickers on them? Bands reporting back that they were traveling all over the world and seeing T-shirts.
Mm-hmm. No, the bumper sticker T-shirt thing was completely unexpected. Our bumper stickers are in every continent in the world. A friend of mine is a doctor. He did some missionary work in literally deep, dark middle of Africa. He gets up one morning, comes out of his tent, and a supply truck is coming in to bring in supplies, and there was a KNAC bumper sticker on the front bumper of the truck. The Wall of China, ski lifts in Switzerland, South America, everywhere, KNAC bumper stickers. Russia.
And what's even more amazing, when you take that aspect and put it up next to the fact that we virtually have a signal that doesn't even make it to the San Fernando Valley. That's what makes it even more amazing about the stickers.
You can't hear it in Woodland Hills, but the bumper sticker is all over the world.
Unbelievable. How viable is Pure Rock today as far as a sales tool if someone else were to take the ball from here?
Well, music is continually evolving, and as music evolves, so do radio stations. And the music scene has changed a great deal since Pure Rock was at its peak.
Right.
If we were able to move this radio station, and I wish we could, but it doesn't seem likely, I think what we're doing today would do very well in Los Angeles with a full signal that covered all of LA and Orange County. We move along as the evolution of music moves along.
Right.
We move together, so the radio station changes as things out in the street change.
Yeah, it's less heavy metal now and more hard music, I think.
Well, so many of the heavy metal bands have broken up.
Right.
They're not around anymore. They're not recording. That scene is pretty much over, and the new scene is starting.
Right. One final thing, if you could maybe share one or two funny stories or great experiences that you've had over the last 9 years, or I kind of caught you off guard here.
Yeah, you did. One of the things that I recall fondly was the 5th anniversary concert with Ozzy Osbourne, the Long Beach Arena.
Great show.
I think Alice in Chains opened that show.
In fact, I believe that was one of Alice in Chains' first Southern California appearances.
I'm sure there'll be people in town who will argue with me, but I think we might have been the first station to play Alice in Chains. We were the first station to play a long list of bands who went on to do very, very well in the music business. To answer your question, the anniversary show with Ozzy was very special. And we did hundreds and hundreds of smaller promotional events that were extremely successful and fun. The last Beach Fest, 44,000 people turned away, was a fabulous day. Raising food at Thanksgiving for those who needed it, and we probably donated. Children of the Night probably received $300,000 or $400,000 from KNAC over the first 5 or 6 years we were in business, based on the anniversary concerts, because they got the net proceeds.
Right.
And we were feeling really good about that as well.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to be also talking to Jimmy Christopher, who was the first program director,
right. Mm-hmm.
and Bill Banks, who has been at your side through the whole...
Our operations director. He was here, I guess, I came in 84, and I think Bill must have been here since 78, I think.
Yeah.
So he really knows the history of KNAC.
And we will talk to him about that in just a little bit. One final thing, you're a big Grand Prix fan. How are you going to get into the Grand Prix for free next year?
I mailed a check.
Bought
my tickets like everybody else. And it really was depressing.
That hurt, didn't it? Thanks a lot, Gary, and good luck in the future.
Well, it's been a good run, and I want to thank you for doing a fabulous job on our morning show on Sunday. It's a show with a big following, and something that everybody has enjoyed through the years, and thank you for the good job you've done.
Thanks, Gary.
All right.